And I was extremely proud because he was the first Bahamian Governor General. It was our first independence, and it was the first everything of which I was a part. I am Nigel Rolle. I was one of the outriders for our first Bahamian Governor General during our first independence in 1973. In 1973, being a police, it was a proud job. It was. I would say that the officers in 1973 were very, very dedicated, proud, took pride in what they were doing, and it was, it was a mixed feelings in that we had a lot of expats, police officers. We had a mixture of Barbadians, Trinidadians, Jamaicans, and we had to work along with them. At that time, the OC of traffic was a Barbadian.
Was that difficult working for Barbadian at the time?
Well, we had mixed emotion working with them, but you had to, being a police officer, you had to work, you had to do what you had to do. You had to work along with them, and we got along fairly well up to that point.
So how were you selected to ride the Governor General? Who was the Governor General at that time?
At that time, Milo Butler was the first Bahamian Governor General. Now, at the independence celebration, we had heads of states from all British Commonwealth countries. We had, you name it, the Canadian Prime Minister, the Jamaican Prime Minister, and all of those were in town for the celebration. And all of them needed escort. We had outriders for all of them. But for some reason, I was chosen to do the Governor General. And myself and Officer Brown, we escorted our first Governor General, Milo Butler, to our first independence celebration. It was magical, man. It was, I don't know how to describe it. It was joyous, it was sad, and people lined the sidewalk from Government House straight to the parade ground. A lot of people had mixed feelings, mixed view, because they never experienced independence before. And there was a whole lot of misconception that other countries would have come and take us over and all sort of things would happen. So even though we were happy, we were still, somehow skeptical and gaining our independence. We had mixed emotions. I was randomly picked as being a speed cop, being an outrider, to escort the Governor General. And I was extremely proud because he was the first Bahamian Governor General. It was our first independence, and it was the first everything of which I was a part. Well, that morning we all met at the barracks on East Street, where we had to make sure our motorcycles were shiny in tip-top condition. You had to be immaculate, man. And throughout the day, we rehearsed what we had to do. And coming about 10:30 that night, we had to be at Government House. We didn't leave Government House until about 11:30. We came out of Government House, Western Gate, made a right turn and went down Bay Street towards British Colonial Hotel at the time, and followed the route straight around West Bay Street, straight into the parade ground. All of the routes to the park was blocked off, and all the streets leading to the parade were barricaded off. So we didn't have a traffic problem. We had a straight route. I got a chance to speak with Prince Charles then, who was the representative for the Queen, and the Queen sent him to represent her because I'm told she was angry with the Bahamian people for gaining independence. So she didn't come herself. She sent her son, who was Prince, now King Charles, to represent her, which was wonderful. I met it was Bishop Desmond Tutu from Africa. I met the Canadian Prime Minister, I think it was Pierre Trudeau, and the list goes on. I met them all because being an outrider, you get to intermingle. I saw the Prime Minister, say hello. I met, I saluted him. But it was very, very, very busy because all of them came in like 10, 15 minutes behind each other. And so we just, we came in, dropped our dignitaries off and rode out and come back around, position ourselves for when they were ready to leave.
So tell me now, after the ceremony and Bahamas was now declared independent, what was the feeling like?
A lot of people were partying, some were crying, some were laughing. It was mixed emotion. I myself was, caught up in that.
How did you feel?
Very proud to have gained independence. At that point, I knew what independence meant, and we've made some changes. There's been some changes, but to be honest, we're not totally independent. No, we're not. Because certain cases we have to wait on the Privy Council from Britain. If we were independent, we would have been able to call our own shots. But we are independent so far. But up to that point, wow, 53 years. I've seen a lot of changes. In 1970, the banks were run by how should I say it, white people. So Milo Butler had made that change. He personally went to Nova Scotia on Bay Street and said that when I come to this bank again, I want to see some of my people behind those cash registers. We had a lot of expat police, everybody in every department. So there had to be changes made. And I saw some of the changes which take place. We've come a long way. We need to take more pride in our country. We need to be Bahamian. We need to stand on the shoulders of those who have guided us thus far. We are not really, somehow we are scared or afraid to be Bahamians in the Bahamas. We need to step up to the plate, be more patriotic, and do things Bahamian. I am Nigel Rolle. I was one of the outriders for our first Bahamian Governor General during our first independence in 1973.